please go live. Yeah. Hi, and welcome back to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 Questions Over Coffee. I am here today with Ali Machate, the writer's ally. I've got those two right, haven't I, Ali? Please tell me. Okay, thank you. So I was going to get something wrong. I've managed to get through without actually making a huge mistake yet. So welcome, Ali. Thank you so much for making a few minutes today. Ali is... well, she's somebody who helps people write books. And I can tell you, as somebody who has tried to do that and succeeded, but by golly, it was hard. You need an ally in your corner. So I'm really pleased Ali has made some time today to come talk to us a little bit about this. You know, writing a book is probably the greatest lead generator you can do because it really sets you apart from the competition. Ali is going to tell us all about that. So Ali, thank you so much for being the writer's ally, and welcome to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 Questions Over Coffee.
Thank you so much for having me, Stuart. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I hope we're going to have a really interesting conversation. So let's start by talking a little bit about, the sort of people you try to help as the writer's ally.
Yeah, so we work with lots of kinds of authors, but our real sweet spot, our ideal client are generally business owners, people who have been in business for a little while and are really confident in their expertise, but now they're thinking about writing a book and they're not confident about that. You know, they don't have time, money, energy to waste. All of that has to go very deliberately into their plans and their strategies in business, but they want to have that book. They know enough to know that there's things they don't know, and they know that they really need to get it right. That book has really important goals attached to it. It's a tool that's going to be really valuable to them and is a part of their growth strategy. And so they need it to be done at the highest level. And that's where we come in.
That's brilliant. So tell me, I mean, you've obviously helped a lot of people do this. What are the sort of things they've tried to do? I mean, you know, everybody has sat with that sort of completely blank piece of paper or blank screen or whatever nowadays and thought, where do I start? What are the things that you've seen them try which have failed to get them anywhere?
Well, one of the things that I think a lot of people who are new to writing a book get stuck on is there's this sort of kind of like romantic, kind of magical, I think, thinking around what a writing process looks like. You know, you're going to get struck by the muse and you're going to sit down and it's all going to flow out of you in a number of hours. And you're going to end up with this masterpiece that, you know, just needs a spell check and then you're done. Right. And they don't understand how much harder it actually is, you know, even if you are fortunate enough to be able to create a rough draft very easily. And some people certainly can. Some people do have that experience. But that is rarely the finished product, right? There is so much that goes into crafting a book strategically, not just writing a good book, but writing a marketable book, writing a book that's going to get you certain results in your business is a lot more than just writing something that's, you know, basically well-written and or even interesting to read. So I think that's the biggest piece where people tend to get tripped up is they think, well, I wrote it, it's good, right? It's objectively good. And they miss that strategic tie-in piece. And they end up with a book that on the surface is really nice and looks professional and is well done, but doesn't move the dial in their business.
So we may be straying into the sort of the third question here, which is about what free advice, what valuable advice you can give. But sort of talk a little bit about that. Sort of what do you mean by a marketable book? Sort of explain the whole, you know, what that does to a little bit about what that does to somebody's business, somebody's career, but also a little bit about what needs to go into a marketable book for it to be something that people actually want to pick up and look at.
Yeah. So one element of that is when you write a book that is the wrong book, right? So first, let's just assume you've written a book. It's a good book. It's objectively well written, right? You've put energy into it. You've made an effort. It looks nice. You paid for a nice cover, maybe even, and it all looks good. What might make that book not marketable are a few different things. First of all, if you were never clear on exactly who your target audience for that book is. A lot of people write a book thinking that anybody can benefit from this. This book will help everyone. And even though that may be true, you can never market to everyone, right? Like I like to say that if you're trying to talk to everybody, then you're going to be connecting with nobody. So this idea that it's just, I'm putting this out there, it's going to help all of these people without really getting clear about who exactly the book is for, that can make a book not marketable. If you don't know who to put the book in front of to sell copies, it's almost impossible to create a marketing strategy, right? A lot of marketing strategy is about who are the right readers for this and how do we get in front of those people. So if your audience isn't clear, if your promise isn't clear, if it isn't crystal clear why your target reader needs your book, right? Again, a lot of people start a book from a kind of internal place if they have something they want to say or they have something that they feel like they can share that's of value. But ultimately, people don't buy books because you think they need the book, right? They buy the book because there's something they want or there's something they're looking for that they feel like your book is the answer to. So that comes back to your unique promise. If your promise isn't crystal clear, it might be a good book, but it's going to be very difficult to position and it's going to be very difficult to have that conversion situation. Just like any other product or any other sale, when you're just trying to sell books, there's conversions. People will come and check it out. If there's nothing there to actually hook them in and make them see, yeah, this is the book that's going to solve my problem or teach me the thing I need to learn, they don't convert.
Do you know, Ali, you make it sound as if you're trying to sort of put together a marketing strategy for some sort of product, which you would hope a business owner has learned how to do. But anyway, let's move on a little bit. Tell me a little bit more about the sort of effects that you think a book can have to somebody's business, somebody's career, if you like. I mean, we can all think of people like Tony Robbins who have written interesting books and then they end up on the world stage. I'm not necessarily suggesting that we're all going to do that tomorrow.
No, and you don't have to. That's the really beautiful thing about books. And especially these days, not only do we have the internet, which gives us tons of opportunities to directly connect with our target audience and to market a book with, very little cost compared to, let's say, print media, for example. But also we have digital printing technology and ebooks. So the very act of creating a book, making it available for sale, getting it out there is also more accessible to people now than it pretty much ever has been in history, really. So those are all really wonderful things. But, excuse me, when you put that book out there, so let's say, for example, that somebody is writing a book to bring in more clients. That's like a pretty classic example. They're writing a book to bring in more clients. If they write a memoir, and I've seen this a lot with coaches in particular, coaches and consultants, they think, well, people who want to work with me want to know more about me. So instead of writing a book that shows how they think about that particular problem, how they've worked with people in that particular niche, how their process or their way of, approaching a situation is a good method or a different way of thinking about certain things. And instead they write a memoir. They write a book that's just all about them and their life's journey, right? Sure, there will be a subset of people who are interested in that book, but most people don't come to the book because they want to learn all about you. Again, people buy a book because what's in it for me, right? What are they going to get from it? So when you have a book that's dialed in to the right people and is strategically aligned to achieve goals in your business, it can accomplish large numbers of things. Everything from the very simple giving books away to build your mailing list. We've had clients too, in particular, that were enormously successful, simply finding partners who are willing to promote the free ebook to their lists because they thought that it was something of value. It's a win-win situation, right? I want you to promote my book. You get to give something free to your audience. Everybody looks good. Now, all of a sudden, you have thousands of people opting in to join your list to get a copy of that free book. That's a real basic, simple way of leveraging a book to grow your business. But also things like we've had clients tell us that sitting down in a meeting with people and taking a few copies of the book out of their bag and handing it to the high-level people that they're meeting with changes the conversation instantly, right? Giving a book to somebody, or even just knowing that someone is the author of a book, is an instant credibility signal. They don't even have to read the book. The very fact that you've written one, again, assuming it's the right one and it's done well, you hand it to them, they look at it, they can see this person literally wrote the book on this subject, right? And there's a psychological effect. Again, there's a reason why the word author is the root word of authority, right? And that's how we think about people with books. So having that book can get you to open more doors. It can get you on more stages. It can get you more clients. It can get you higher level clients. It can help you to close deals. It shortens the like, know, trust factor and gets those that cycle, that sales cycle, to shorten and speed up. It can do a number of really important things for your business. And I agree. I think it is one of the most powerful lead generating tools, even still.
Yeah. And amazingly, I learned a little bit about this, but the words sort of, the best business card you'll ever have are really applicable here, aren't they? Because somebody who has a book, you don't need to leave them a business card. You leave them the book. They'll find you, even if you've got very little else in that book in terms of contact details. They will find you because a book says something about you. Ali, I'm going to sort of pose the, is there one piece of, and I think you've already given some advice, but I'm sure there are other things. And I know we've got some things that we're going to be sort of pointing people towards, which is in our vault, which is in www.systemize.me/free-stuff. Tell us a little bit about some of the free, valuable services you provide to people.
Well, we have a blog, of course. We publish new articles every month. So our blog is available for free at our website at thewritersally.com. You can find our newly launched library. And in the library, we have links to the blog with all of those articles. We have a playlist of podcasts that I've been on. I've been on more than 50 podcasts. And so they can listen to those recordings or watch those videos. And download a number of free resources that we have available, checklists, a few mini guides. I have a ton of stuff available for people. I've been in this business more than 20 years and I've accumulated some stuff. So I've really put it all together. We just launched this website. I'm very excited about having this, the ability to put all of this stuff in one place to give to people.
And I've had a look at some of the checklists, and I must admit, I was really, really impressed. So look, if you haven't captured all of the details of that, we will have links to, where you can find all this stuff and more stuff from Ali at systemize.me/free-stuff.
Yeah, and just
Ali,
before you jump to the last question, I just wanted to add one thing.
Oh, we're not even close there yet, Ali. Don't get excited.
I also have a free gift that I prepared especially for your audience, and they can
thank you.
Yes, they can get that if they go to offers.thewritersally.com/rocket science. It is an evergreen video of my webinar called Don't Write the Wrong Book. And it is about just that. What does it mean to write the right book? How do you avoid writing the wrong book? And a simple 5-step process for thinking through your book idea, whether you have one idea you're trying to choose, or if you've already started writing and you want to temperature check what you're working on. It'll help make sure that everything is strategically aligned in the way that we're talking about today.
I will make sure that link is in the vault, our vault, which is another valuable resource. But I will make sure that's pointing straight to you. We will get that to people. We are not yet at the end though, Ali, because we have more to go.
Awesome.
What you just said you've been in this business for 20 years, so that's a huge amount of experience. But let's talk about how you got here. What is it? Was it a realization that you just had to write? Was it the realization that you didn't write very well? What was it that brought you to understanding how to give such valuable advice? Was it a book? Was it a program? Was it a life experience that brought you this level of understanding of how to write a book?
Well, Stuart, I am a lifelong dedicated book nerd, really. I've always loved books. I've always loved writing and reading. It's family legend that I learned to read at the age of 3 because I was frustrated that my parents just wouldn't sit and read to me all day long. God, they had to go to work and do things. But I started reading very early and making books out of construction paper and crayons. And I would give them to my neighbors and my friends. And I would tell people I was a book publisher. And even as early as first grade, you get into school and everyone's always asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? And I would tell people I wanted to be a writer, a lawyer, and an editor at Simon and Schuster.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And, I have no idea where that came from. I'll be totally honest, like why Simon and Schuster, where did I pick that up? Goodness only knows, but it was something that I said, and I stuck with it. I stuck with that love all the way through my academic career. I did, yearbook and school paper and lit mag and all that kind of stuff. But it was really in college where I started getting more serious about it. I started freelancing for pay as a writer, as the internet started becoming a thing and really opening up opportunities. And then, of course, I did an internship at a small regional publisher while I was still in school in upstate New York. And after that, the big turning point was that I got that dream job and I got hired at Simon & Schuster.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. But the greater challenge was then to go on and do it and show other people how to do that.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. So I spent some time there. I learned a ton, as you can imagine, Big Five publishing. That's the Olympics of publishing. Like you really learn everything at the highest level. And I was also fortunate to be in particular in a department that was very nurturing and very supportive of its young people. So I got to really learn hands-on. I acquired my first book for the company before I had been there a year, which is pretty much unheard of. And so I was able to just dive in and learn a lot about how it all worked. And then, fast forward a few years, .com bust happened, 9/11 happened. A lot of things were changing in New York. I decided to step away for a little while. I thought I would wrap up. I was doing a part-time master's degree that had taken me a few years. I was real close. I thought, you know what? I'll knock it out. I'll take a year. I'll go full time. I'll finish all my classes. I'll do some freelancing and I'll come back and maybe, the economy will have calmed down and the job market will have opened up again. And I loved working directly with the authors and running my own business so much that I never looked back.
Yeah, well done, well done. Look, Ali, I'm gonna have to say you've been asking some or answering some brilliant questions, but there must be one question that you cannot get away from thinking. When is he going to ask me that killer question, the really important one? Well, I don't know what that question is, so I'm just going to have to ask you, what is the killer question that I should have asked you by now? And obviously, you have the question, so you might as well answer it as well.
Well, I think the killer question is one that most people maybe don't ask because they assume, which is, should everybody have a book? Should every
lots of question.
Yeah. And the answer might surprise you because there are a lot of people out there who suggest that if you have a business, if you are an expert, you have to have a book. It is just a must-have. And I do not agree with that at all. I think there are situations in which a book may not be right for your business. It really depends on what your strategy is and where you're trying to go. Because as we've been talking about, the real power in a book is as a tool to be leveraged, right? It's not just decoration for your Zoom background. It's something you're going to use in your business. Not every business benefits from a book, and not every business benefits from a book at any time. So there's also a timing issue involved. Writing a book, as you know, Stuart, you've been involved. It's a huge commitment of time, energy, and money. And anything that you are saying yes to means you're also saying no to other things, right? Yeah. So, one of the biggest misconceptions I think people have is this idea that, well, if every business owner has to have a book, I'm new to business, I'm still growing my business. If I write this book, that will help me establish myself. But you have to have a business to grow before a book can help you grow a business, right? It's not the thing that gives you a business. It's the thing that helps you level up what you already have. So if you're not already at least a little well established, it might be too early for a book to really give you the kind of benefits that it would if you waited a little bit longer. Or if you're in a situation where you have a choice, do I launch a new course? Do I do this big marketing push? Do I change this part of my business? Or do I write a book? You want to think strategically, what is the thing that's going to give you the most ROI where you need it first? And a book is not always the answer.
Do you know, it's almost as if you are trying to say to people, you have to have a strategy behind why you are writing a book, know who your audience is, and write the book for that audience. And if you're still in the process of working out what your business is about and who your audience is, maybe a book is not going to help you achieve that goal.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Hey, I think that is a fantastic and truly brilliant way to wrap this up, because if there's one thing that I think you've proven to us, Ali, is that you are an ally. You are somebody who is trying to think of the best for the author, trying to think of the best way of helping that author achieve their goals, rather than just trying to pitch everybody on doing the same thing just for the sake of it. That's a truly allied way of thinking. So thank you so much for bringing that perspective. And if you don't mind me just taking 2 minutes for me, if you, I mean, you get such value from some of these interviews from brilliant people like Ali, who's bringing this wealth of knowledge. I would like to be able to send you an email once a week just to say who's coming up on the podcast. And the only way you can get that email is if you join the blog, the email list, and that is to go to www.systemize.me/subscribe. That's just a simple form. It takes you to, it needs two things: your first name, your email address. I don't want anything else. I just want to be able to send you an email. I just want to be able to address you as you and tell you about the brilliant stuff that's coming up. Ali, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us and being so honest with your advice, and so helping us to think through just how we need to use books to be so intentional. Thank you for that time.
It's my pleasure, really. Thank you for having me. And, I like to say I'm a reader too. I want there to be better books out there for me too, so I really do care. It is a heart-led business.
And for somebody who's been doing that since 3 years old, I guess you do need another one of those books to just have a look at least one more time, don't you? Thank you so much, Ali. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again.